magnetism or in maths or 9th class geometry. After they finish their class in the school or the chapter, they can take the test, the diagnostic test. After the diagnostic test, the SeekoG platform automatically generates a gap analysis report. What areas that particular student is weak in and what areas that particular student is strong in. The gap analysis report is accessible to both the teacher and the student so that they exactly pinpoint what aspects a particular student is weak in. For example, in geometry, is it angles or is it other topic that they are weak in? Using that gap analysis diagnostic report, the tutor can exactly teach only those topics without repeating the whole thing. There's no reason why a tutor can actually repeat the things that a student is already strong in. So the student and the teacher in one-to-one will only focus on the weak areas. So that's the part. We believe this improves significantly the learning process of a student and also improve the marks and performance in the subjects. The mind maps, we developed hundreds of mind maps from classes 6 to 10. Every chapter in science and mathematics, we developed a mind map. Within just 5 minutes, a student can revise using the mind map. That will quickly help them to actually learn a whole chapter, but also recollect well in the exams. You don't need to spend hours in revising a given chapter or a concept. So a revise is the first key critical element of our platform. Then comes the SeekoG academic diagnostic test. This is based on multiple choice questions, and every student gets a unique test. It's not like a test is given and the same test appears. We use our algorithm-based model to produce a unique test. For that reason, we developed 50,000 questions from classes 6 to 10, so that every time a student takes a test, it creates a new test within a given chapter. So that's quite unique, and no other app anywhere in the world has that facility. Most of the apps simply repeat a given test, where we create a unique test every time somebody takes a test. Students can make these as a practice test so that they can improve their learning, but also improve their marks. Once the student takes this multiple choice questions test, simply we generate automatically a gap analysis report, which tells the marks, of course, but also which concepts within that area somebody is weak in and which in that area somebody is strong in. And then we provide one-to-one tutoring. This is quite unique in a sense. One-to-many doesn't work to actually treat specific learning gaps. So we believe one-to-one tuitions would actually address those learning gaps of individual students. It also saves money and time because we don't repeat the whole thing. Only those concepts the students speak in will be covered during one-to-one tuitions, and it's just, each session is only half an hour duration. This also builds confidence in students so that they have exactly what they need in terms of their learning gaps. A lot of effort went into developing this platform. We developed hundreds of mind maps, over 50,000 questions for 5,000 concepts. We initially developed this is for class 6 to 10 for Indian curriculum, both CBSE and AP and Telangana state curricula. Over 2 years of effort went into it, and over 20 years of expertise went into developing this platform. As I said, it's not a single institution or single person's effort. What you're seeing is a recently launched Pride of India, INS Vikrant, that went 20 years behind it. Hundreds of companies, people, research organizations went into launching our Pride, our security Pride for India. And similarly, to develop and launch SeekoG, there are a number of partners who helped us. EAPIAS, who developed our Moodle platform, HarperCollins Education, who are training our tutors, Startup Telangana, who is providing immense support to the startup companies across Hyderabad and beyond Hyderabad, across Telangana, if not India, through its innovative efforts and good leadership. And a number of other partners have contributed to this app, and we thank all of them to actually making this happen today. Thank you very much indeed.
so much, sir. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are blessed with an eminent personality, gracing this occasion with his presence, talking about him. I would say words will fall short, because he is a philanthropist by nature, he's a businessman by his mind, and education has always been his priority, and a veterinarian doctor. He is none other than our Honourable Member of Parliament, Shri Dr. G. Ranjit Reddy Garu. Please put your hands together for Dr. Ranjit Reddy Garu to deliver his speech.
A very good morning to each and everyone. My beloved friend, my dear friend, Nasir Ali Khan Sahab, the Consul General to Kazakhstan, the diplomat, and Mr. Kondal Reddy Garu, the founder of SeekoG, along with Sudhir Reddy, the founder of SeekoG, and all my dear friends and the parents, whoever it is, and the print and electronic media. Andariki namaskaram, a very good morning. At the outset, let me congratulate the whole team of SeekoG for coming up this with the startup of SeekoG, which says revised, tested, master. And I also congratulate the partners in coming up with this startup. As we all know, though Mr. Kondal Reddy has put the things in a very simple manner, saying that the students have to be taken additional classes for the revision, for the test, and for mastering a subject. I think we all have gone through all the problems, what all we have faced in the schooling days or the college days. One fact what you have to accept is, the student whoever feels that he is weak in a particular topic, as he said, he was talking about the geometry or magnetism, different subjects, whatever it is. Whenever a student feels that he is weak in that subject, he has to accept. The problem with most of these young mothers, the parents who are sitting here also, most of the time they feel that because the student has read well at home and they expect the students to get good marks at the school, which is not happening, which was not happening before, which is not going to happen also. Because these days the testing itself, the methodology of the testing itself is different. The teachers are expecting lateral thinking. As Mr. Kondal Reddy has rightly said, he has faced those problems when he went out to the other countries for his higher education. And with the expertise and the exposure what he had in UK, and the same with Mr. Sudhir also, because having studied a degree in India and having gone abroad, first thing they face is the accent is an issue, second thing the understanding the subject is an issue, and the way it is being taught in other countries is also an issue. Because there it's not the teacher-student relationship is different, there you can have one-to-one classes there, and the problem here also has to be the same thing. It does not mean the practice, what we were practicing in about 50-60 years back is still being practiced. In 80% of the schools it is the same issue. The teacher teaches to 40 students or 50 students and expect all the students to gear up and cope up with the same understanding, which is not practically possible, as we all know. In spite then, the problem is the acceptance by the principal, the teachers or the students is not happening. But when you go abroad and talk to the teachers, when you go abroad and talk to the students, they feel the difference. Because when a particular subject does not mean that you have to pick up all the subjects in the curriculum, you can pick and choose. So having picked and choose, you should become an expertise in that. So whenever you talk to a foreigner or whenever who comes back from a master's degree, they say their expertise is only in one subject. When you try to bypass that subject and ask something else, he simply answers saying that I am expertise in this subject. That should be the confidence with which he has to come back on a particular subject. So for that, what happens? Suppose you talk about any Newton's laws or whatever it is. When you talk about it, does not mean that you have to by heart all the 3 laws and keep on repeating and remembering and rewinding them. You have to understand the concept of the laws. Then only you can really interact on the particular subject. Then you can apply those laws in the real life, which was not happening before. చిన్నప్పుడు ఒకటే సిస్టమ్ బట్టి కొట్టాలి మార్క్స్ ఫుల్ రాయాలి లాస్ట్ 48/50 వచ్చినాయి 50/50 వచ్చినాయి. That was the only thing what we used to have. These days the problem with the students also, the students do not bother or care about the marks what are given to them. That is a good thing. The only thing is they should have a command to control the subject. what all they have learned. As Mr. Kondalidi has rightly said, what I feel is students, whenever a student does not understand a particular subject, he feels shy. Teachers student the teacher that I have not understood, because 50 students will be there on the maximum 5 to 10 students will be understanding whatever the teacher might have taught them. The rest 40 will not really understand the whole concept. But the problem is the shyness. Who has to get up and say that, can you please repeat it? Because the teachers also these days, they don't have time to repeat the classes, whereas that is not the case in other countries, and that is not the case in startups like these SeekoG or whatever it is. I request all the school, suppose some managements of schools have come here, or the management of SeekoG, to percolate to the ground level, to percolate to the village level, and talk to the management of the schools there, talk to the students on one-to-one, interact with them, talk to them and see their understanding. Then you will understand. Then you can gauge what is the teaching methodology, what is the level of understanding at the village level, at the mandal level, at the district level. It is not the same. I think depending on the degree of problem, we have to accommodate all these things. And does not mean that SeekoG has to play only in English, because most of the students these days they are moving out from their from Telugu medium to English medium. When they move out from Telugu medium to English medium, it will really help if the SeekoG WhatsApp, the startup program comes up in the local media also. At least the people who do not understand the things in English, they will learn it in Telugu, then they will have to think things in English. And important what during my schooling days or college days also, on the day of exam, the most important thing was the revision. Because what all we have learned and the last minute is the revision which matters. Because in the revision, if you can cover all the subjects, all the topics, then only you can put forth everything in the examination paper. That is supposed to be done. So the thing is, how best to come up with the revision before the exam will definitely help you in getting a good scores. When the revision is possible, then you have to apply go for the test, as they rightly said. Testing, suppose if we are really performing the best in the test, it is good. Or else you can, after that also you can master the things. So if this sequence continues and if this can be applied at the school level, at the intermediate level, you should go and talk to the students saying that they should not feel shy having not understood. There is nothing wrong in not understanding a particular concept. Adi Athan used to put a parents and teachers and second thing, Mr. Kondalidi would also want to say that does not mean that all the tutors whom you are going to employ are really masters in those subjects. First, train your tutors on all the subjects, because they should be an expertise in the subject what they are teaching. The command and control what they have, they can really percolate the subject into the ground level. So, wishing the whole team the very best. I think I'm bothering you. This is the practical problem what every student has faced, what students are going to face in the days to come also. Having understood, the teacher has to say that only 10% of the students have understood the subject, and as long as the tutor is convinced, then only he can percolate the subject down. Good luck and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, that was a great vision that you have showed us. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would request Shri. Sir, 1 second, sir. We have a small felicitation to be done. Can we have the... Sir, please. I would request Mr. Kondalidi to please present a memento, a token to remember. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. Thank you so much, sir. Once again, it was... Thank you so much, sir, for joining. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would request Dr. Nawab Mir Nasir Ali Khan ji to please give his view on this occasion.
I'd like to
congratulate Dr. Reddy on launching the SeekoG. I think it's the need of the hour, because the education system, Indians are brilliant, schools do extremely well, but the system, I think, it's more of a test of memory than test of knowledge. Like he's come from the West, so he's very familiar with the system. And there's a lot of competition in India in education. I know it's very difficult to get into IIT or IIM compared to getting into an Ivy League in the West. It's easier to get into an Ivy League than to get into. But the only thing in India what we need to improve is, we need to shift from this test of memory to test of knowledge, because most of the universities in the West are rated on the research they do. The rating is more on the research and the papers they produce. So we need to move towards more towards research, and the reason is, innovations come from research. Like, most of the inventions, or you see software, we do a lot of software work in India, but most of it is just working for companies which make products. So most of the innovations in IT or even in pharma, we have a lot of pharma in India, but most of the innovations come from the West. So we need to be more innovative. That's what Dr. Reddy is doing, and really appreciate and wish him all the best. And for a country to be prosperous, successful, global power, you need to have quality education and quality health. So we have a lot of education institutes and also health industry, but we need to work towards having quality education system, which I'm sure Dr. Reddy is working towards it and will achieve. We wish him all the best. And I represent Kazakhstan as Council General for Telangana and Andhra. We have a lot of requirement or demand or opportunity in education and health in that part of the world. I advise the government, so I would also request and invite Dr. Reddy to look at setting up or doing something in that area in Kazakhstan. I would like to invite him to visit Kazakhstan and be my guest.